Alright, so we're doing the Martin neck reset. You have to forgive me, I fell off a roof last Tuesday and landed on my head. Actually, shouldn't even be walking, they told me, but so my head's not all in the right place. Anyways, um, neck reset. Um, the plane of your neck, I straighten this neck out with the truss rod. It should, when you put a straight edge on it, should glide right over the bridge. This one runs into the bridge, as you can see. The neck has to go back just a hair so that it glides right over the top of the bridge when you put the straight edge on. You could take the bridge off and shave some off the bottom of that and lower that, but it works. I guess you can do it. I ain't gonna say nothing bad about it, but the proper way to do it would be a neck reset. This particular guitar is a Martin. It's a mortise and tenon neck joint. There's a little cap on the inside. You take the cap off and there's a bolt under there. It says custom. It's a Martin custom. The only reason they call it that is because this particular model was built specifically for Guitar Center and Musician's Friend. So that's why it's a custom, but I've done a lot of research on these, and this guy's not alone. I've heard a lot of people got them, they love them, no problems at all. And then I've heard a lot of people have had the same issues. Some people, the heel separated, all they had to do was tighten the bolt, and that solved the problem. This one here, that's not the case. You know, the heel's not separated, it's nice and tight on. Few things that I found weird about it was he bought this brand spanking new, and it's a left-hander. Let's see, I don't know if you'll be able to see this with the camera, but if you look at the heel cap, I mean, it's not even, it looks like there's a gap under here, but that's just the heel cap itself. And then you can see wood right here. It's like the heel cap was glued on crooked. I don't know, and he claims, he says he hasn't touched it or done anything to it, but I've also see file marks on the nut. The nut and saddle are both supposed to be made of corian, which is what they make countertops out of. It's, I believe, similar to granite, which that's not. That's a plastic nut. So I don't know what's all going on with it. Seems like a lot of things got past quality control. But what I got to do is, I took all the measurements. What you do is you measure from the bottom of the heel, right here, to the bottom of the fretboard, right? Well, first you measure your action. You measure your action at the 12th fret. Let's just say, for instance, the high E. This is a left-hand guitar, if you didn't notice. The specs, Martin specs, say that the low E, the thick E string, should be at 90 thousandths of an inch, which this way, and just so you know, the specs, that's like a safety number. It's a comfort number. If you pick up a guitar at this guitar store and you play it and it buzzes, obviously you're gonna put it right back down. So that's just a safe number, you know, so it won't buzz. You can go lower, and I always do. You just got to do it carefully, slowly, get the action as low as possible without it buzzing. But that's, like I said, that's just a safe number. But we'll go with that for now. And it's supposed to be 90 thou at the 12th fret. This one is upwards of 140 thousandths. So it's way out of whack. So you want it at 90, it's 140. So that's a 50 thousandths difference. So you take that number, and then you measure from here, the bottom of the heel to the bottom of the fretboard, take that number, and then divide it by, you take the number from the 14th fret to the saddle. So basically from the body, the edge of the body to the saddle, divide it by that. And that's supposed to give you your number of how much you're supposed to take off the heel, because what you do is when you get the neck off, you take a wedge off the heel. You start from, like, say, let's just say 1/16 of an inch for, just for the hell of it, let's just say a 16th, all the way down to nothing. Because you don't want to change this at all. You don't want to take anything off of here, because that's gonna that'll screw up your intonation. It'll basically change your scale length. So it'll screw up everything. So like I said, to say you need a 1/16 of an inch off, you start at a 1/16 of an inch, all the way down to nothing. This particular guitar, like I said, it's got a little plate on the inside. It says Martin Custom. Behind that, there's a bolt. Bolt comes out. It's a mortise and tenon. It's still basically got to be steamed out like a dovetail, because it is glued in. We'll see how much that takes, because from what I understand, they don't really use too much glue. But what we got to do is we got to heat up the tongue here, and we got to loosen up this tongue. Normally on a dovetail, you would remove the 15th fret, drill a tiny little hole through the fret slot, and then you use, which I have over here, I'll show, we'll get to that later. I have a hose with a little needle that would go into there, and you introduce steam to it. And I also have a jig, we'll get to that here in a little bit, that puts pressure on the back of the heel as the steam goes through there and pops the neck once the tongue is loose. But yeah, so for now I'm gonna get the strings off of it. Before I do anything, I'm gonna check all the braces on the inside. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of them. I just like to check out everything, before I do it. So I'll pause the camera for now so I don't bore the hell out of you. Get the strings taken off of it. Make sure the neck is straight again with the strings off, because I want everything to be straight. And then I have a jig that I put over and protect the body of the guitar, so I can heat up the tongue here and start getting it loose. I got a couple tools here for doing that. This tool here, this particular tool, they sell these at StewMac. I looked it up the other day. It's like $40. If you look, I took a piece of walnut and I cut it at an angle, and I used a very thin scraper blade, and I screwed it all back together, and then I put some cork board on the bottom to protect it, so it's got that angle to it, so it's like this and slide under there. So I made this for a few bucks.
What's up, bro?
Not much. That's my stupid neighbor. So I'll be back. Alright, strings are off it. I adjusted the truss rod again. Make sure the neck's straight as possible, which looks like it is. I'm going to give it a few minutes, because things do move and what have you. So you got to take, I'm going to take the strap button off. Oops, my bad. I'll take the strap button off here in a few. This one and this one. I'm going to take this nut off. Seems like it's going to be too hard to do. And then we'll get her taped up around these areas, and what you want to do is score with a razor knife around here, so you don't